Welcome to this edition of EC3's HOSA Medical Moments.
The topic for this month's session is entitled Healthy Eating Makes Healthy Bodies. Hello, I am Grace Carden, and I am enrolled in the EKG and Medicaid Nurse Aid pathways at EC3.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Rodriguez, and I'm enrolled in the Medical Nurse Aid pathway at EC3.
We are both officers in EC3 HOSA Future Health Professions. I am Vice President.
And I serve as the Treasurer. Joining us today is Josie Koo, Director of Child Nutrition at Hardin County Schools.
Josie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a registered dietitian, and I've been a dietitian for almost 13 years. I went to Western Kentucky University and studied graduate school at Southern University of New York.
Let's begin with the first part of our title. If you were describing a healthy diet, could you paint us a picture of what it would look like?
Yeah, so healthy diet, I think that's kind of a loose term. Everybody doesn't really understand because there's so many different diets out there. So healthy diet to me is 3 meals, maybe a couple snacks during the day, but definitely not skipping any meals because that can be very unhealthy. But within those meals, really you should have all food groups. Lean protein, some dairy definitely, which we forget about sometimes, half a cup of cooked vegetables or whole cup of raw, half a cup of fruit, and some whole grain pasta, rice, or bread. So and make sure to include all those food groups every day.
How does the picture differ when thinking about different age groups? A, adolescents, B, adults, D, children, and then, of course, other adults.
Okay, so when you're looking at nutrition in children, you know, they're very active, so they're going to need smaller portions, but depending on their activity, they may need a little bit more. So, you know, you've really got to judge how much exercise they're doing daily, but lots of little snacks during the day usually is good for kids. With adolescents, you know, they're growing rapidly, so they've got to keep up with those calories. And you know, I know you've heard the phrase, they're eating me out of the house and home. That is a teenager in a nutshell, because they are needing more energy because of that growth, so they need more calories. And sometimes teenagers don't always choose the best calories sources, but nevertheless, they do need that little bit of extra. Adults, they, you know, the growth kind of slows down, but they're still needing to maintain a healthy diet and healthy exercise regimen. With older adults, they are, you know, the activity is a little bit less, so they're not needing as much. But then, you know, sometimes they still need those nutrients that every individual needs. Even though they're aging, they still need all of those nutrients in their diet. If they're not able to get those through their diet, typically supplements will be introduced. So
there are many diet options suggested. These diets include such as keto, Weight Watchers, Atkins, faster way to weight loss, GM diet, etc. Is there a diet option that you would recommend?
Well, probably none of those. But honestly, Weight Watchers is a good program, and I don't want to say anything bad about Weight Watchers, but some of these others, they are fad diets, and not really a fan of fad diets just because they do leave out important food groups that you need daily. When any program touts that you will lose 20 pounds in 7 days, it's probably not a good program to look at because, you know, that's not healthy. 20 pounds weight loss in 1 week is just not healthy. So fad diets I would stay away from. Yeah.
If somebody wants to lose weight, what kind of diet would you recommend?
Good old calorie counting and weight loss, or exercise. So that's actually the best thing you can do. And I know everybody's trying to find the next best thing out there, but it's going back to the basics.
Yeah.
Calorie counting is very effective. Exercise is very effective. When you put them together, you can have a really, really good program just with that.
Do you recommend a diet approach where one totally eliminates one food group?
Absolutely not. It actually gets very dangerous when you eliminate food groups. Carbohydrates are one of those things that people look at as a bad food group now, but it's not. You still need carbs. You still need them to grow for your brain fuel. They should not be eliminated totally from your diet. That is actually what you're supposed to get most of your calories from, or most servings during the day is from grains. So,
For those who are interested in creating a healthier lifestyle, what is a safe amount of weight you would lose weekly?
1 to 2 pounds per week is safe, healthy weight loss. I wouldn't go beyond 2 to 3 pounds. For some people, they will lose more because they have more to lose. For males, they will lose quicker than females. So they might, go up to that 3 to 4 pounds per week, but beyond that, it just gets very unsafe. And I say that because the quicker you lose it, the quicker it can come back, and it brings buddies. So usually, if you've got this weight loss plan and you just stay on it for a few weeks, it's effective for that time, but you've got to stop it at some point because you're not going to be on it for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes we hear that small changes are what is needed to improve our health lifestyle. What are some simple interventions individuals could make toward a healthier lifestyle?
So something very simple that a lot of people don't think about are watching your beverages. So your drinks that are really high in sugar, like those sodas, a lot of people don't think about, the sports drinks are high. Tea is high, lemonade is high, not just sodas. But those that have a lot of sugar in them, if you cut those out during the day, gradually, you don't have to do it all at one time, but gradually if you cut those down, you'll be cutting a lot of calories out of your day. And just starting there can really put you on a good path to weight loss.
How much water intake would you recommend?
Well, it's different with every individual. Obviously, we're all different. So a good rule of thumb, though, is to look at your body weight. Divide that in two, and usually that's about how many ounces you need a day. So if you have somebody that weighs 150 pounds, you got 75 is your half there. So 75 ounces is about where you need to go with your ounces of water. But you also need to look at, if you're exercising or doing extra activity, you obviously need a little bit more than that to get you through that. So,
what are your recommendations on weighing?
I would not advise to weigh every day, not even every other day. I'd say once a week is a good number, a good amount to weigh, just because you tend to get obsessed with the scale. And if it goes up and down, it might be frustrating to see it going up, but it's very normal for your weight to fluctuate while you're losing weight. But it's very easy to get frustrated when you see that number going, back and forth. So once a week is a good amount to weigh, and keep a journal. So you'll have your you'll have a pattern. You'll kind of see those patterns, but no more than once a week.
So often people think that healthier eating is very expensive. Could you elaborate on this, and if so, tell us cost-saving methods?
Yeah, so it is expensive, and I think the expensive part kind of comes from produce, because produce is very high. It is expensive. And really, I tell people they have to think of their body as an investment. I mean, you've got this body, you've got to take care of it, and it's kind of like your house. You want to do repairs on your house sometimes and make it the best you can make it. Same thing with your body. Sometimes you do have to put a little bit effort and maybe even cost into your healthy living. But, some tips, you could buy produce seasonally because much cheaper, much more cost effective to do it that way. And also, nobody says that your fruit and vegetables have to be 100% fresh all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can do canned, you can do frozen, dried, so vary it up a bit. If you're doing canned fruit, though, make sure that you're doing it canned in its own juice, not in heavy syrup or even light syrup. Just adds a lot of calories. But yeah, you can do other forms, not just fresh all the time, and that does save.
Can you tell us about programs that are available through health insurance plans to help improving healthy lifestyle?
So I know a lot of health insurance plans do have programs, like wellness programs, that they can incorporate. And us with the schools, we do have one called Go 365. It's very nice because it has lots of resources with weight management, and not only weight management, but mental health and different ways to kind of look at your wellness. But yeah, they're very effective. I mean, they always they offer incentives too. So if you do well at your activity tracking, they'll reward you with gift cards or so it's very nice, and I think I think most health insurances do that now. Yeah.
Do you believe sugar consumption is a problem in the American's life? If so, could you elaborate?
I think it's a problem everywhere. I think that's something that has grown as the beverage industry has boomed, just because that's an easy way to get sugar in your diet. You drink it and it's you don't even digest it. It just it's very easy to get a lot of sugar in very quickly with drinks. But fortunately, I think we're kind of doing better. More drinks are out there that are lower in calories, and your carbonated waters are really big now, and those don't have much of any sugar in them. And so I think that hopefully we're taking a turn to make things better from the newer industries I've seen, beverages. So hopefully we're getting better at it.
What types of illnesses can occur without a proper diet?
Well, several things can go wrong when you don't have the proper diet daily, and one that just comes to mind is diabetes, and you're not just looking at the older population, but you're looking at younger population as well. Of course, diabetes, there is a genetic factor in there too. So if you have family that has diabetes, that you are going to be more likely to get type 2. Type 1 is I want to touch on that for a minute because a lot of people get those confused. Type 1 is where you need insulin from the get-go, that you cannot live without insulin. And that is something that's also genetic, but it's something that can be developed later in life, but is usually at a young age when you get type 1. Type 2 is developed over time, and it's one of those where you may or may not have to have insulin. You usually start with oral medication and then go into insulin. But some of those symptoms, if you think that you might be developing diabetes, or you might have someone close to you developing diabetes, you really need to look at vision, because your vision will start getting blurry. You may be going to the bathroom a lot. You might be feeling dizzy, and that's maybe from low blood sugar or high blood sugar. Very thirsty all the time. Several things you need to pay attention to for some of those symptoms, not just for yourself, but for loved ones that you want to watch out for them. That's very much nutrient and nutrition drive is diabetes. So,
how do you know when your health is being affected by your diet?
So symptoms, like I was just talking about, for not only for diabetes, but for several different disease states. If anything is out of the ordinary. Another one that I didn't mention with diabetes is wounds that are slow to heal. So if you have a cut or something that's not healing properly, something's going on. Your body's trying to fight something else, and you're not healing, within the proper time limit. You need to get it checked out. So there are several physical things that you can see, but pay attention to your body. You know your body. If something's off, if something doesn't feel right, if your skin is different, make sure you check it out, because it may be something developing that you can catch early.
It seems like food allergies are on the rise. So what can schools do to combat that?
So we have a very good system as far as making sure that those students are properly nourished without, having any food allergy problems. We want to make sure that we're getting them the proper items. So they will have a form from their doctor, kind of stating what their allergy is, what needs to be avoided, what substitutions can be made, and so we can accommodate pretty much anything as far as medical allergies. So once we get that paper, we make arrangements to order special food. We order a lot of gluten-free items, just for example, because we have some that have celiac disease, and we definitely want to make sure that we get them the proper food and what they need, but also making sure that there's no cross-contamination whenever we're making it in the kitchen. So it's very difficult. It's a big production, but we want to make sure that those kiddos are safe. So that's just one example of what we do. We do order a lot of special foods for food allergies.
We know that eating disorders usually start in the teen years. Could you talk more about that?
Sure. It's actually, it's not just pinpointed with one age. People do most think of the teenage years as being, eating disorders, that they've got this time frame between, 13, 17, 18. But actually, it can start much younger, and it can even be in older adults, too. In fact, I don't know if there's still a fad out there, I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but with pregnant individuals, that it was actually termed pregorexia. So these women were, gaining weight and of course nourishing their babies, but they did not want to gain too much weight. So it sounds crazy, but that is something that's out there. So people need to know about that. If you notice that you've got a friend or a loved one that's participating in something like that, that you notice they've got dark circles under their eyes, they're running to the bathroom often, they're binging, you know that they're alone for a certain amount of time after they eat, you've got to say something. Maybe not directly to them, but you've got to say something to somebody, somebody important, and make sure that they get help, because it could be the start of something like an eating disorder or something worse. So definitely pay attention, because sometimes they can't pay attention themselves because mentally it's a fog for them, and they don't see themselves as the person they want to be, or they think they want to be when they look in the mirror. So always pay attention to those around you.
So what does Hardin County Schools do to ensure that everyone gets lunch, like free and reduced lunch, and just elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we do have, of course, we offer free and reduced lunch, and the main way to apply for that is through application. We have online applications now, which very nice. People can go to those in their own convenience and fill those out, and then they get processed very quickly. So the free and reduced program is very, very beneficial. We've got, within our district, we've got about 52% that's on free and reduced lunch, 52% of our students, which is over half. That's awesome. Because I know several of them do not know if they're eligible, so it's nothing to fill out an application. Even if you don't have eligibility, you can still fill it out for free. It's not very long application, but outside of the free and reduced program, we also have something called the CEP program. It stands for Community Eligibility Provision, and what that means is that we can take certain schools that are eligibility through the state with our direct certification program. They can be eligible for, whole schools can be eligible for free lunch, whether you're free reduced or not. So we have 15 schools right now that are participate in CEP, and we're very, very happy that those schools can receive lunch at no charge to those kiddos.
Our district is going above and beyond in these programs. Could you give a little more examples of these?
Sure. So our child nutrition program, in addition to CEP with lunch, we also offer free breakfast district-wide. So every school in the county receives free breakfast, which is awesome. We started that several years back, and that's something that we hope to continue each year because we know that breakfast is so, so important for those little minds. So we want to definitely continue to be able to offer that. Another program that some may not know about is our summer feeding program. So we have something that lasts 8 to 9 weeks during the summer. We'll have 3 or 4 schools open throughout the district for open feeding sites. So we're open 11 to 1. Families can come in the community. You don't have to be part of our, part of Hardin County. You can come from a different county. They're open to anybody to eat, and all kids 18 and under eat free. So it's a very, very good program. In addition to the 3 schools that are open, we also have different sites that we deliver to, about 40 different sites. So in order to do that, we do have vehicles that go out. So we have a couple of vehicles on those delivery routes, but then we also have a couple of vehicles that have routes where they actually stop within the community and feed kids. So one of those is our summer feeding bus, which we call the Cruising Cafe. So the Cruising Cafe will go through to parks, churches, stop in the middle of a neighborhood. We've got different stops throughout E-Town and Radcliffe that they'll go to and invite kids on. We've got meals on there. We've also got a little book station, book nook, that they can grab a book to go. So very, very good program. We've got great feedback about it. So, if they can't make it to a site, to one of our schools to eat, hopefully we'll come to them or nearby so they can get a meal during the summer. So that's our summer feeding program. Another thing that we do during the school year is our share carts and our food share program. So waste is always something that is on our mind, the food waste. And to kind of combat that, we do offer the share cart program, which is we have carts set up in each of our cafeterias. Anyone who goes through the line gets something that's packaged, can place it on the share cart if they don't want it, or they're not hungry for it, or they just don't want it on their tray, and another student can come up and get that item. Free, no questions asked. They can take what they want from that share cart. So definitely, if someone's still hungry, they can go to that share cart and get something, and it does not go in the trash. So it gets used. Another program, like I mentioned, is our food share program. So this was, Miss Morgan was instrumental in developing this program, and she's worked with us to kind of make it what it is now. But we also work very closely with our family resource centers within each school, and they will kind of identify families that may be in need of an extra meal going home a couple days a week, and we will bag up leftovers in the kitchen that we cannot use again, that will otherwise go in the trash, and we safely bag them and refrigerate or freeze them for families to pick up later, so they'll have a meal.
Are there any other comments you would like to make about healthy eating, or just where we can access all this information?
Sure. So we have a child nutrition page on the Hardin County Schools website, and you can go there by going through our main website, and under child nutrition it'll show our menus for breakfast and lunch. So our menus are powered through an online menu viewing and app tool. So staff, students, parents can go to this tool. It's called Protein Healthy Meals, and they can access all of our menus through there. The really neat thing about that is whenever they're looking at items on our menus, they can click or hover over that item and the information will pop up. So the nutrition facts will pop up, ingredients, and then any known allergies in that item will pop up. So very nice for parents and students to look at that information to see what they're eating. In addition to that, we do have an allergen filter where they can come up and say, okay, I'm allergic to eggs and soy. And once they check those little boxes, it'll cross out anything on the menus that have those items in them. So that includes our 8 big allergens on there. Very nice tool for parents and nurses in our schools. Also, we have a build-a-meal feature on the menus where you can tally up your meal pretty much. You can click what you ate that day, and it'll give you a running total of calories, carbs, protein, fat, all that. So you can kind of see what you had for lunch. So that's our online side of things. Also, the free and reduced application is on that page. Other important information about our program is on that page as well.
Thank you so much for being here today, Josie. We really appreciate it. We know that nutrition is very important in our daily life. If you could just give us the phone number to the website.
Sure. So thank you for having me. Obviously, you go to Hardin County Schools website to go to our main page. And if you want to call our office, if you have any questions at all, it's 270-769-8877.
Thank you.
As we discussed earlier, overall sugar consumption is an issue in the general public. The sugar individuals consume should come from natural sources such as fruit. According to the 2015-2020 Dietary Guidelines for Americans from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, adults should not get any more than 10% of their daily calories from sugar. In a 2,000 calorie diet, that's 200 calories from sugar, or approximately 12 teaspoons.
The average American, however, eats around 22 teaspoons of sugar per day. Other organizations have different limit suggestions. The American Heart Association, for example, recommends women limit sugar consumptions to 6 teaspoons or 25 grams per day, and men limit to 9 teaspoons or 36 grams per day. The World Health Organization suggests getting no more than 5% of calories from sugar, or about 25 grams. We have 4 containers demonstrating the amount of sugar in beverages.
The first one is Coca-Cola, and there is 16 teaspoons in it. The second one is Minute Maid orange juice, and there is 15 teaspoons of sugar.
The third one is Mountain Dew, and there is 19 1/4 teaspoons of sugar in there. And the other one is a Rockstar energy drink with 20 1/4 teaspoons of sugar.
Each container of sugar content is based on a 20-ounce serving, except for the Rockstar, which is 24 ounces. All ages of the population are witnessed consuming these beverages. As everyone can see, many individuals are consuming empty calories daily, which have a direct effect on a healthy lifestyle.
Often individuals make the decision to switch to diet drinks to lower their sugar intake. However, switching to diet drinks should only be a temporary fix, with the ultimate goal being switching to water, since we do not know the lasting effects of artificial sweetener.
This concludes the episode of Healthy Eating Makes Healthy Bodies.